Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Let's see. All right, there we go. Hey, Makosta. Hey, wealthy woman. Hello, thank you for joining. Happy Monday. Hi, Tristy. Abigail and Riggy. Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining. Welcome, everyone. Buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? Feliz viernes. I don't know. Is that Happy Monday? No, Feliz Lunes, right? I don't know. So, good morning, you guys. Happy Monday. Hey. Hi, Drina. Hi, Toya. Hi, you guys. All right, so we're going to get started. I'm Leslie. I am a blogger at Fashion Du Jour Daily, fashion turned lifestyle blog. Good morning. Well, it's morning here, but it's probably somewhere around noon your time, Toya. So good afternoon. I'm also the founder of a community called Bloggers Like Me, which is a community for entrepreneurs, bloggers, and influencers where we encourage each other in our entrepreneurial pursuits through genuine relationship building. Awesome community. If you want to learn more about that, you can visit blmgirls.com and learn all about it. So if you're new to Periscope, there's a little guy down here that you can tap on and share this cast with your followers if you'd like to let them know what you're watching this morning, afternoon. And then there's also, if you like what we're talking about, if you're enjoying what you're hearing in here, if you are enjoying what you're hearing, it's Monday. Tap the screen and give hearts. All right, guys? So this morning we're continuing our marriage conversations, and we're talking about the roommate trap. So what is the roommate trap? All right, so, like early in marriage, you long to spend time with your spouse, right? You long to just wake up looking into his eye. You're very, very excited and interested in being included in everything that your spouse does. And, so spending time together, being interested in learning about what your spouse does kind of just came natural. It's something that you did without thinking. Is it? You can't hear me? Are you guys, can you hear me? Tap on the heart. Tap the screen if you can hear. Just want to make sure I don't need to restart. Can you guys hear me? Hello? You can hear? Okay. Somebody's tapping hearts. Okay. You good? We're good? All right. Thanks, Adrena. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, in the beginning of a marriage, the beginning of a relationship in general, you're all about the other person. You're all about learning about what he loves to do. That's all you care about, right? As relationships progress, you become to get more lax. You become more interested in other things, and sometimes your interests drift. Sometimes your husband becomes really interested in playing golf or something, and you get really interested in your blogging, or you open a business and you're really interested in that. So, and when that happens, morning decadent new, when that happens, you have a tendency to start making schedules and routines and scheduling your husband or scheduling your wife in to your day, fitting them into your schedule. And so while you are able to live with each other, in a way that's comfortable and nobody's arguing and, your schedules are aligned, while all that makes sense, you're not connecting, right? So I call it the roommate trap, because your schedule, you know where he's going to be at this time. He knows where you're going to be at this time. You guys set a time to meet, and, everything is all in line. Everything's all in order. Everything's all scheduled out. You've scheduled everything to a T, but you're living with each other on a schedule. And you haven't set the schedules aside to just connect and be, emotionally intimate with each other. Yeah. It happens in most marriages, I think, at some period in time, especially like when you're sort of out of the honeymoon stage and you've been married maybe, 5 or 6 years, you begin to, you're still interested in each other, of course, but you start to find other things that you're interested in outside of the relationship. So like I said, for instance, if you are a blogger, dive into blogging. If you're a golfer, you dive into golfing. And sometimes those interests aren't interests that your spouse shares. And so again, while your marriage doesn't feel like it's on the rocks or feel like there's anything wrong with it, you're both very busy making your schedules and fitting time in for your spouse here, fitting time in for your spouse here, making sure to schedule, excuse me, all this time with your spouse. But when you're doing that, you're not connecting with your spouse. You're just scheduling them in, making things convenient, and you fall into this roommate trap. You're comfortable with each other's coming and goings. And so there's something that I've said before, it's you are what you eat. And in marriage, the same is true. Your marriage is a sum total of what you guys do together. If you're not doing anything together, then you're just living together. You're just roommates. If you're not doing anything together that's meaningful, if you're not making memories, if you're not, sharing experiences together, 10, 15 years down the road, you're going to look back and you're not going to have anything to reflect on. You're just going to remember, the exchanges, the pleasantries in the morning, the pleasantries when you get home from work. So we want to make sure that we are, yes, schedules are important to make a house run and all of that, but we want to make sure that we're also at some point putting those schedules aside and investing in each other, being interested in what your spouse is doing. And like I said, at the beginning of a relationship, most of us don't have any trouble spending tons of time together. It just comes easy. Q Parker of 112 and his wife, Sharon, they were just talking about this. Oh, cool. Confirmation, right? So yeah, at the beginning of a relationship, it's super easy when you're dating, when you're in the honeymoon stage, when you're engaged even. It's super easy to spend time together just doing pretty much anything, nothing. You sitting on the couch watching movies, and that's what created the closeness when you are in that early stage. That's what created the makings of your relationship. Once you're married and once you've become really familiar with each other, you need to do those things. You need to share in order to build that closeness. You know what I mean? So early on in the relationship, spending time together came easy, and that's what built the closeness. But as you move on into marriage, we need to make sure that we're making efforts to spend time together so that we can, again, build that closeness up. So, as we build these separate lives, with all of these other things that we're interested in, it's really important that we're at some point coming together and saying, yes, you're interested in that. Yes, I'm interested in this, but how do we make sure that we are remaining interested in each other? With all of these new interests that we're finding, you need to make sure that you remain interested in each other, because it's easy to find new things of interest and find other people who are interested in the same things that you're interested in. And you become friendly, you become familiar with each other, and there's tendencies there where a marriage can become a little less strong as it once was. So making sure that you involve your spouse with whatever it is that you're interested in is really key. And I talked a little bit about this the other day when I was sharing with you some of the interests some of the things that dating women should be, doing. I talked about making sure that you show interest. And that is not only something that you're doing during the dating stages, you're doing that throughout marriage. Because like I said, your interests change. In the beginning, you're all about each other. All you care about is what he cares about, and all he cares about is what you care about. Everything's just wonderful and happy. But as marriage progresses, as jobs change, as friends change, as you go to a different church or whatever, you know, your circumstances change, your environment changes, and with these changes, you and your spouse need to be aware and need to be able to work together to get through those changes, get through those stages. And that means you have to stay connected. You have to be interested in what each other are doing. If there's things that work that your spouse, new things, new responsibilities that your spouse is now facing, where maybe he has to travel, make sure that you, thank you, make sure that you are involved and that you care. Even if he doesn't like his job, make sure that you ask him about it. You don't want him to find other people that he is able to vent to. You want to be the person that he can share those feelings with. So make sure that you're staying interested in each other and that you're interested in the things that your spouse is interested in. And like I said before, even if you're not, I'm not saying to pretend, I'm not saying to put on an act, but you might find that what he's interested in is kind of cool. It's something that you could learn to enjoy, or not feel like you're competing against this thing that your spouse likes to do. And I think sometimes that creeps into our relationships when we begin to develop interests outside of the interests of our spouse. That interest can sometimes become a point of competition to your spouse. Your spouse is wondering, why are you on the computer for 8 hours a day? Come to bed. And your spouse will begin to despise this interest that you have, and now you're trying to explain why you need to, or why you want to, why you enjoy this interest, and he wants nothing to do with it. So not only should you be interested in what your spouse is doing, but you should let him know that what you're doing, why you're interested in what you're doing, so that he knows that you're not just doing something so that you don't have to spend time with him, that you're not using it as a distraction, as a distractor from having to spend time with him, or something like that. Because it's easy to become jealous of things, of activities, of your spouse's involvement in other activities. It's easy to, resent some of the hobbies or interests that your husband has if he's spending a lot of time with them in doing those things, or even if he is a part of a kickball team or something. You might start to resent his friends that are his teammates, because of the time that he's spending with them and not involving you. So we need to make sure, again, that we are involving each other, spending that time with each other, being connected with each other. Invite her to a game. She may not, be interested, but invite her to a game. Give her something to do, with regard to your interest. Let's see. So, I don't know how you guys feel or how long you guys have all been married. I've been married, almost 10 years. And I've been blogging since before we were married. But now my involvement has increased because of what I do with bloggers like me. I'm really, really invested in making bloggers like me, my business, take off. And I know that the time that I spend doing that is time that I'm not spending with my husband. So it's important to me that I make sure that he knows what this can mean for our family, what this can mean, for just our long-term financial security and all of that, so that he knows, okay, well, this isn't a hobby, this is something that should be taken seriously. And so it's not, this business, this thing that I'm doing is not a threat to him, So as we make sure that our spouses are involved, it lessens that fear of feeling like they're losing you to blogging, losing you to golf, losing you to these other things and interests that your spouse is involved in. And it's kind of hard because, our culture